All right, everybody, welcome back to Your Thoughts Are Debatable. I got my guest, my buddy here, Trey, joining with us again, coming to talk more subjects and see if we can agree to disagree. You been doing all right today, Trey?
I've been doing well. I'm glad it's the
Uh,
weekend.
oh, absolutely. We're not gonna beat around the bush today. We're gonna jump right into some of these topics. First one is gonna be, we might agree on this one to a point. Is job loyalty dead?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. You
Um
think job loyalty is dead?
yeah, I think it's dead because I think people are starting to realize that these jobs aren't loyal to them, and you could be gone in a second. And I'll speak on just for a personal experience as well later on, but I just want to say that jobs back in the day, like when you worked at the Ford plant back in the day, you was there for 30 years. When you used to go in the mines and work in the mines, that was not only did you work in the mines, but your dad worked in the mines and your grandpa worked in the mines. These days,
Yeah,
I don't people are jumping from job to job, and I feel like there's a couple reasons for that. I think a lot of people in today's society, they're ready to give up or quit real easily. So that's one reason. Another reason I feel like a lot of people, especially people in my generation, they feel like if they're not getting what they're worth, then they're going to leave immediately. So yeah, I think job loyalty is dead, but I think it has something to do with that. It's the companies never had loyalty to um, the employee. If I die tomorrow, they might do something.
irreplaceable.
Yeah, I'm just a number to them. They're gonna have my job posting. I know they got to make their money. They're not gonna sob like a family member would sob over me. But it's
Right.
just like I can be gone in an instant, and I don't even have to die. I could possibly be I could have a medical issue, and they might be missing my production, so they can hire somebody else and say, I'm sorry for what you're going through, but we need somebody that's going to be here, and your medical issues are, costing us. So
Absolutely.
I think the employees doesn't have loyalty, and I think the employer definitely doesn't have any type of loyalty.
Now, I feel like jobs back then, like especially those factory jobs, those company jobs, those ones where you really exerted a lot of labor. Like you said, like the car dealerships, mining things, like assembly line type jobs. I feel like those were jobs back in the day where your kids followed in your footsteps. Like, you did that, so your kids were going to do that. But like you said, today, between one, the pay and just
Hmm.
the way everybody's living and the fact that really it's the type of people that are working nowadays. Like it's not even the jobs aren't loyal to you, but at the same time, the people that they're hiring aren't loyal to the jobs because the generations are becoming lazier.
Exactly. Yeah, they are.
I mean, so it's not like even me, I was with my last job for almost 10 years. And honestly, it's not that I didn't like the job. I kind of got burnt out. You know, you kind of get tired of doing the same thing over and over again. So,
Hmm.
and you can only do it for so long. And if there's no room for advancement and you're not going to make only but a certain amount of money, I think a lot more people are seeing that these days. And, some jobs have become so strict and they'll tell you up front what their cap out is. And so most people are like, okay, well, it'll work for a couple of years. But after that, when I find something that's going to take me to that next level, then, I'm going to make that little slide and just move on over.
Yeah, and I can make it a little bit more relatable to you. Obviously, I don't work in the at the airport ECP anymore, but when I did, for the 4 years I was there, just let's use this as an example. How many
Okay.
different people that you've seen come through from Delta, American, and United, but the people at Southwest, it was the
Well,
same
they
people
there.
all the time. Yeah, the same
They there.
people all the time, but it was a high turnover rate for the people that worked at Delta.
American, United.
United, and we know the difference.
It's still that way. It's still
It's
that
still
way.
that way, but, Southwest, they were mainline, we were being,
Mhm.
outsourced to another company, but they're unionized. I don't know how you feel about unions, but, they're unionized. They take care of their employees. They got profit sharings, and they got I was there. I was capped out when I became a supervisor within months of
Yeah,
becoming a supervisor. COVID, and they
right.
had to move up the pay scale just to keep people in. But before they did
Mhm.
that, I was already capped out. As for someone like DJ, he went over to Southwest, and he started off
But
less,
yeah,
but his earning potential in the future was going to be way higher. So
correct.
so
And he's
I
already
just
making more now than he did when he was at Delta.
exactly, exactly.
And
So
just to clarify for everybody, when we say Delta, United, American, we don't mean like mainline Delta, United, American. These are all subcontracted out that are capped at a certain amount. Like they're not like actual mainline that are that can get paid up to 30, 40 something dollars an hour over time, where we are being capped out at but in the probably the low to mid 20s at most.
yeah.
So
So
there's a big difference.
exactly. So, yeah, I just feel like, depending on, in that instance, whether you're with the main company, because right now, the furniture store that I work at as a sales manager, I'm not with corporate. I'm with a franchisee. So things are different. Corporate, they're taken care of a little bit more better. As for us, we're a little bit more laid back. We don't follow the rules as for a corporate store, but we also don't get the benefits and the luxury of being a corporate store either. Depending on how the business is being ran, whether it's corporate, whether it's a franchisee, or whether it's subcontracted, whether you're an independent contractor, I feel like that plays a big role into retaining employees and having job loyalty for the employee to be higher, and you don't have a high turnover rate.
Okay. So we're gonna mutually agree that job loyalty is dead.
Yeah.
We agree that the job people are not tied to one job for any certain amount of time without there being some particular benefit to it.
Exactly. And
Like
and
that's
then
actually going to keep them there and live off of for the rest of their life.
Exactly, and then when another like, I feel like back in the day, like if I worked at the Ford, plant, and Chevy offered me a job, I had loyalty to Ford. I'm not going to Chevy. But just say I was working for, Delta, and Southwest got come over to me and be like, "Hey, I got this on the table. There's no loyalty. Southwest is offering a better package. Imma go to Southwest." As for back in the day,
And
there was loyalty to Ford, and they're not going, even if the pay was a little bit better.
now I'll say right now, if we were if Southwest came to me in my current situation and said, "Yes, we'll hire you right now. We're going to give you this much money. You're going to have these benefits." I'm not going to lie, I'd slide.
You're
But
smart.
I would slide. But if if I was mainline Delta, and by now having right over 6 years in, if I was
Mhm.
mainline Delta, I would be making probably close to $30 an hour. I would not leave because my mainline benefits are just as good as their mainline benefits. The only difference is
Exactly.
Delta's not union where Southwest is, but that actually stops at hourly employees like for actual just agents. Supervisors
Mhm.
and up aren't unionized and they don't have that protection.
Yeah, exactly, yep.
So,
That's another key
um,
factor.
but with that, we're gonna agree that job loyalty is dead.
Mhm.
Um, so with that, do you believe 9 to 5 jobs are outdated?
I don't think it's outdated. I just think that we just got different streams of income. There's different things that you can do. So, the conventional way was back in the day was, you go get your education, and then when you get out of high school, you either go to college or you go into the work field. These days we got like teenagers and people younger than teenagers, adolescents, that's making, good money, because there's multiple ways to make money these days. You can stream, you can have a podcast, you can play video games. I mean, you can do surveys on your phone to add a little bit of money. I know people that play games and make a earnable living from. They on social securities, and then they just play games on their phone and they're making
Let me
money.
For those that don't believe what this man is saying, I will testify to that right now. There's a guy I work with right now. Every single day I go to work, and now if you guys don't know, I'm gonna go ahead and turn you guys on. That Hard Rock app that you can download on your phone, download it. In there, not only can you bet on sports games, you can there's a little tab at the bottom. You click, it says games. Click games. When you click games, it it brings up slot machines like you're at a casino because it's the only way you can legally bet in Florida, because
Yeah.
we don't have casinos. Deposit 15, 20, $30, find you the right game. I'm telling you, this guy, just this past Tuesday, within 2 hours, I sit there and listen to this man make almost $300 just playing on his phone. And then he showed me the direct deposits from the game to his bank account. Bro, he made more money off a game in 2 hours than he did all day at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So I
ridiculous.
just I just feel like it's multiple ways. And with the rise of technology and AI, I think that multiple streams of income will be better for the human. Even in the Bible, it says 7 streams of income. That's what you need to be wealthy. So with AI coming and the rise of technology, just getting more technical and it's taking jobs away. Um, I could see where it can become outdated to a lot of positions, but I don't think the overall scope of it is outdated. I just think there's just more opportunities to make money. You just have to be motivated to go out there and get it.
Right. But when we talk about the traditional 9 to 5, 8 to 5 structure, do you believe like back in the day, parents went, they graduated, went to college, they got jobs, and like even like my mom, when she started actually working back, when I was a kid and, full time, her schedule was literally 7 to 4. And she did
Hmm.
that for 15 years. I mean, do you believe that traditional work schedule where you got up, went to work, and you were home by dinner is dead?
Oh yeah, that's been dead. It's been dead for a long time. I don't know anybody. My partner actually, she works from home. She's on a schedule like that, basically, where she works from 8 to 4, but it's not a set schedule. She's salary, and she has unlimited PTO and sick time. So even though
Wow.
her hours are set for 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, she's still flexible with her work schedule. So when it comes to, if you're asking from like 9 to 5 set schedule. Like I know I clock in at 9, and don't matter what happens, I'm getting off at 5. Yeah, that those times are dead. Those times are dead
Yeah, I think
because
I've learned that.
it used to be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Those days are those times are gone. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with to that.
when I first started working like an actual like in my last job, my one I was at for almost 10 years, the first, I don't know, 6 years of that, I was 10 to 7. And
Hmm.
then as time went on, we convinced our boss to make us specifically because one part of being in the furniture business, we didn't want to deliver really after dark if we didn't have to. So we actually convinced our boss to give us basically an 8 to 5 schedule.
Hmm.
And it's not traditional for that particular job because for us it wasn't, but because it had always been like 9 to 7, 9 to 8, 10 to 8, something like that. So I don't think I've hardly ever worked an 8 to 5 job ever, except for maybe when I was there for the last couple of years. And I mean, maybe working single shifts at restaurants where because in
Yeah.
restaurant businesses, most of their shifts are what, 5 to 6 hours long. But if you work a
Hmm.
double, they're 10 to 12 hours long. But in reality, a normal person works 8 to 10 hours a day anyway. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. So when I used to work in call centers, I used to do direct
Yeah.
TV technical support, and also used to sign people up for insurance. Now those
Hmm.
jobs like that, I had a set schedule. I came in at 3 and I left at 11, 11:30 or midnight. So that was always the same off days and stuff like that, same hours. So that's probably the only job that it was consistent, because in the industry that you're in now, I don't know if y'all still do it that way. When I worked there, we couldn't leave until my plane was gone. So even though my schedule says from 4 to 4, but if that plane is delayed or cancel. I can't leave until the passengers are taken care of, and I can't leave until that plane is off the ground. So I was it.
Exactly.
So I couldn't really. Oh, the wife can be like, "Hey, dude, you want to get dinner? You want to go do something after work?" I don't want to plan nothing because I don't know because the plane has to be. I don't know if the plane is going to leave on time. So even though the schedule's set for, I don't. You know how the industry works. If something happens, you can be there. It was times that I used to be there all night. So yeah, I think the traditional 9 to 5 scheduling and work life, yeah, that is dead.
Okay. So talking about the workplace, actually, should public shaming when it comes to workplaces, since we're talking about jobs, and I've seen this, over and over again in places, and it might just be an oversight by the manager or the supervisor or whatever, but should public shaming um, ever be a thing? Like, should you publicly shame somebody when they do wrong, or because it's one of those, what is it, praise in public, discipline in private, or whatever it's called. How do you feel about public shaming?
Well, myself, I'm kind of split, because I can see both ways on the owl. But in my current situation as a sales manager for a furniture place, we just hired somebody, and this guy, he's not there all the way, and it's
I got one of
obvious.
those.
And it's very obvious to everybody else that works there, but to him, he doesn't seem like he understands that he's being a nuisance to us, and he's actually hurting the operation. In his head, he keeps asking us, and this is a 45-year-old man, by the way, too.
Mhm.
So it's not like a kid straight out of high school, first job type crap.
Right.
So this guy, he's like literally hurting the operation and the store and stuff like that. But in his mind, he thinks he's doing good. And I'm not gonna lie, I think it's wrong at times. We do get on him in front of everybody, and he will say y'all mean or you're not being fair or stuff like that. But I'm just being honest. If you're hurting us as a team, then you should be called out in front of everybody in a team setting, because
Right,
if I'm
but
only scolding you behind closed doors, the other employees can possibly look like I'm not doing my job and letting you know that, hey, you're effing up.
right, but should it be a scolding in public with, like, if there's customers around, or are you scolding, like, in the back area of the store where there's other might be other employees, but, like, you're not directly in front of customers?
Never in front of customers. Never in front of customers. And like I said, yesterday we had an instance where the delivery drivers, they got into it. And, they used to being on a delivery truck or being back in the warehouse where they can talk, however they want to each other. And they had a blow up with each other. And we had customers in the store. I literally had to say, hey, cut it out. We'll handle it. And he still tried to jaw with me a little bit as well. I'm saying, whatever issue we have, we will resolve when the customers are gone. But while there's customers in the store, you do not act like this. Be professional all the time and don't use any type of foul language.
We have a guy at work, and I'm not gonna say any names because
Hmm.
I don't know if somebody will show him this or if somebody will, which I doubt it. He's an older fella, fairly new,
Okay.
um, kind of the same situation. He means well, he does. He's a little slow on the learning side, and I'm not sure he's actually slow,
Yeah.
but I don't think he realizes what he's saying when he says it and how he says it, um, to the point where he stops doing his job to, like, come tell somebody how he thinks or what he thinks should supervisors or management should be doing in that particular circumstance, when you're he doesn't realize he's now slowing down the process when
Yeah.
he's no longer doing his job
Hmm.
just to go find somebody to tell them because he won't pick up a phone or a radio,
Yeah.
so I,
Hmm.
I see that. The discipline publicly shaming part, no, not in public. Definitely conversations to be had, and they shouldn't be held in front of I don't feel like because I've been on the management side, I've been on the leadership side, I've been on the non-leadership side. There are some individuals that will, don't matter who's around, they will say whatever's on their mind right then and there. But then
Mhm,
you have to then know how your employee is going to take that, because I feel like some employees don't care. They'll shrug it off. And I feel like some employees, it'll ruin their day, and they'll be reserved, and they might not like their job. And then within a few weeks, they might not even be there anymore because they feel like, like they were embarrassed. So now they don't want to be there. So I feel like there's a fine line about how and where to do it. I mean, I've caught myself snapping or snipping back at people, like, and maybe I shouldn't have done it when I did it, but sometimes there's a lot going on, and you just need to tell somebody what you need out of them instead of trying to beat around the bush and make it like, just tell them how you need it to be, because that's what you need out of them right then and there. And
mhm.
however they take it, they take it. You can apologize later. You can have a conversation about it later, whatever. But you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that I was speaking about earlier, like a situation like that where you're just doing your job as in a manager, and then you don't even have to be a manager. If you see something is wrong, you should be able to tell another employee, "Hey, this is how we do it. This is supposed to," just critiquing the work. And if they don't follow what you say, go to the supervisor or management and handle it. But I just feel like, yeah, a lot of people take a lot of things personally these days, and instead of just trying to keep it business related, instead of you're critiquing their work, they feel like you're critiquing them. They get their feelings hurt, and like you just mentioned, they could be gone in a couple weeks, couple days. They might walk off on a job right then and there. So yeah, so that just tied into what I was speaking about earlier, like how quick somebody is able to leave a job when nothing is even personal. We got a job to do, and we want to do it the correct way, the safe way. And if I'm critiquing that, I'm just critiquing your work. I'm not critiquing you, unless it's something that you said something about me, or it was something that you made it personal. Then
right,
it'll be personal. But most of the time, if I'm getting on to you at work, it's going to be because it's something related to work related stuff. So don't take it personally, like I'm picking on you or I'm attacking you. It's just the right way to do things. And I got rules that I have to follow. We all got rules that we have to follow. If I'm doing something wrong, somebody's going to tell me I'm doing something wrong. And I understand that they're not critiquing me,
right.
they just critiquing the work or
But
the
you
action
also,
that I
but
did.
you, right. But you also understand that if 8 out of 10 people are doing things the same way, and those two people don't realize they're not doing it the way everybody else is doing it, and you say something to them, and then they act like you're just picking on them because they're doing it a different way, but then yet they don't understand when you explain it to them. Look at everybody else. What is
Hmm.
different about what you're doing and what they're doing? You know what I'm saying? It's
Hmm.
they those are the ones that probably won't make it because they don't understand what they're doing wrong, and
Hmm.
they won't admit that they're wrong.
Exactly. And so they hop to another job, and they'll keep that same attitude or their way of thinking or that work ethic, and they'll keep hopping
Mhm.
from job to job. And oh, the job is the problem. It's the people that's working the job. Instead of they won't look
Right,
themselves in the mirror and say, "Hey, maybe it's me."
right. If everybody has a problem with one person, but you're that person,
Yeah,
maybe it's not everybody else, maybe it's you.
exactly. And that's the situation I'm dealing with at work right now with certain individuals. So yeah.
So, uh, to go with this whole job thing, ultimately, everybody's gotten one. You've gotten surveys from places, I've gotten surveys from places. Our jobs ask us, give us your feedback. It's been a year, give us your feedback. What could we do better? How do we make this place better? Ultimately, your opinion doesn't matter. Ultimately, and that's this last topic here. Your opinion doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I knew the 100% way how to run McDonald's from top to bottom. It doesn't matter what I tell X, Y, and Z at the top. My opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times they ask for it. They can ask for it every week. How can we make your workday better? How can we make your experience better? How can we make your job better? And I could
Mhm.
give them 100 reasons. But at the end of the day, our opinion doesn't matter because we're a pawn in their game so that they profit the most money. Um, and just like the people we work with, you get that mentality sometimes where you have to subconsciously, you out loud, you ask them, well, how could I make this better for you? When realistically, you don't give a damn because
Exactly.
in your head, you're like, this is how it's going to be. I'm asking you to be polite,
Mhm.
but I really don't care, you know? So,
Exactly.
I mean,
So,
to you, how do you feel about that?
I agree with you 100%. I feel like, we do not the only time that we matter to them is when we're representing them and also when we're making them money. That's the only thing that matters to them. Like you said, you can give them a million reasons why, but I'm not sitting in on those board meetings and that they're having, so they don't care about my opinion. You know, they
Right.
don't know what it is to be on the front lines when it comes to operate in whatever store or business it is. So, they don't know they can't relate to it. All the people that's in the nice dresses and the suits that's sitting at the board meeting, they giving off suggestions or, ideas, but never been in the field with it. Some of these people never
Right.
worked a job where you actually had to work. So they left high school, went straight to college, grounded their 4 years out in college or however long it took them, and then they got a sweet board job, or they got a job where they're sitting in the back of the desk and they're not really seeing what's going on. And even if they were to come into the store and see us work, then it's just you just getting a one day. Every day is different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then they come in and they ask questions about this and that, and they don't take it into accountability when they get back into the around that round table and they're asking questions about this or that. They just want to appease the shareholders and get profits up.
Exactly. And that kind of, if you look at that situation, I don't know if you've ever watched that movie Sully about the U.S. air flight that, the pilot landed his Airbus 320 in the Hudson,
I
Captain
know of the
Sully.
story. I know of the story, but I didn't watch the
Okay.
movie.
So that kind of goes into that where you watch that movie and ultimately the pilots did the right thing. But for the whole movie, they're trying to prove they did the right thing because the NTSB, the FAA, everybody's basically saying, "Why did you do that? You had time to do this, 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 and this."
Hmm.
And you got two pilots sitting there that were in the cockpit that tell you, no, we didn't. This
Exactly.
happened in this event." And the whole time they're explaining this, the FAA and the NTSB, they're sitting there. Let me show you these simulations. They have two people in the cockpit and they set the whole thing up to exactly how it happened in the plane. But you know what they did? They took out all the human error. They took out the human and made everything. They told them what was going to happen. They told them how much time they had. They told them what to set and where to go. So when they ran the simulations, it looked like they could make that work no problem. That not accounting for in a real life situation, the pilots when they experience a problem, they have to go through a checklist. They have to go through all these different things to make sure they're doing what they're trained to do correctly before they make an actual decision on what they have to do. And once they inputted the delay time it took for them to run checklist and talk through all the things, then they realized all their simulations were wrong. So yes, so when you have people that are making these decisions in the workplace for you, like you just said, going to college, never shook a thing of fries in their life or rotated a tire, done any of that, pushed a plane, nothing. They come down and they're like, well, why are you failing on this, 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 and this? I'm like, all right, well, you come work a week or two here and you tell me why and you tell me how you think you could do it better because not everything is grab and go. You have problems. You have mechanical delays, you have, fires, you have whatever, you put passenger issues, product issues. It's not just everything is as smooth as it seems on a commercial, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I just wanna, just add some input to the that story that you told about Captain Sully. They did all that to try to prove that what he did was wrong. But then
Right.
there's by doing a simulation and stuff like that, but it's also stuff that can't be accounted for in a simulation. You got to understand, as you said, they got to go through all that checklist in a certain amount of time, make a decision while there's 200 plus people on a plane that you're responsible for. So a
Mhm.
simulation in a computer is never going to be able to take that into account, excuse me. So it's
Right.
like, just to add a little bit more, it's just like, and this just ties into all the topics that we talked about so far. It's like they just don't care. Instead of, taking a word of someone, wasn't he in the military at one point, Captain Sully?
Yeah, I think he came from the military and he was, then, transferred over to be a commercial pilot.
Yeah, so you got this veteran pilot that's battle tested, literally in war and, reputable with the, was it what, company did he fly for? United?
The US Air.
US Air. So, yeah, so that became American Airlines after the
Yeah.
merger and stuff like that. But, so to become a pilot, you gotta be qualified, and instead of taking this man, you know, account the way that it happened, the way he's telling you this happened, you do so much to try to prove what he's saying is wrong.
Mhm. They literally tried to tell him so many things that, "Oh, well, one of your engines was still running the whole time," when he knew it wasn't, like,
Mhm.
the data came back wrong. Like
Exactly, yeah,
there's so many things, like, they did everything they could to try to make him believe he was in the wrong for landing that plane in the water, and, yeah, it was either that or crash into a building or crash somewhere on land, that plane was gonna blow up. Like,
exactly,
I mean, if I was on the plane, I feel like a water landing is a pretty good ditch spot rather than a land,
exactly,
especially,
yeah,
you know,
and then that's right outside New York City. What just happened around that
not
time
yeah, it wasn't,
in New
yeah,
York?
too long after 9/11.
And so it's like, you put people on the ground at risk by not landing it the way that they landed it in the water, and it's like lives were saved, and you still trying to find a reason why to discredit his decision to land in the Hudson River.
Yep, absolutely. That is actually going to be it for today in this episode anyway. Hopefully,
Mhm.
hopefully it catches traction. My other podcast is, working. It's right now working on getting the views.
Yeah, I
Um
was actually watching that before we got on this. So I was watching
Oh,
the
did you?
conspiracy theories with you and your wife. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we got I'm gonna say this the coming up Friday, our second episode will be released. So we're trying to see if we can catch some traction on it and, go from there. But,
Mhm.
uh, like always, Trey, it's great talking to you. I'm glad we can kinda catch back up a little bit, and,
Mhm.
I hope you're, down for, a few more episodes. Like, I'm hoping this will run. It's not gonna be like a seasonal thing, but it's gonna be, a multi-episode as we go. And we'll take some weeks off and whatnot, and I don't know how much
Mhm.
time you'll have in between, but hopefully we can catch up and get through some of these topics because there's so many topics, and the goal is that people will actually comment, listen, and they'll actually put in their 2 cents and want to argue, some of these points that we're talking about, because that's the whole point. Once they start arguing with us, that gives us
Mhm.
a reason to go back, or even I'll invite them on. I mean, if somebody wants to leave me their emails in the comments, I'll invite you on. We can talk about it. If you got a problem with one of these topics, come on. Let's
Yeah.
have a debate. Let's talk
Mhm.
about it, because it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what Trey thinks. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Somebody may or may not agree with you, and that's where the fun starts. You know,
Exactly. And the
I
topic
mean,
so far had been mild. So
right, right. Yeah, they've been mild. I mean, I haven't personally asked you what bothers you, because I'm sure I could. try to come up with some things that could really get under your skin that we could, you're really, you know, hard pressed for. But
Mhm.
maybe we'll get there. Maybe you'll text me and be like, "Hey, I really don't like this," and I might really like that. You know what I'm saying? And we might sit here
Exactly.
for an hour yelling at each other. I don't know, but
Exactly. But yeah,
but
I think it's great to be able to have conversations about anything, and I think that's what the best. I know people are starting to say, podcasts are becoming too like oversaturated because everybody doing one, but people hearing opinions from people they know and stuff, and also people that don't know us, just normal people just having a conversation and just discussing things, and it's nothing personal, but you might agree, disagree, but that's all it is, just having a conversation, and I think it's something cool. I really do think it's something cool to be able to talk to you about whatever topic that you bring up, and just to see where your mind at and stuff like that, and be able to pick your brain, and you can pick minds and stuff like that. So yeah, so when I seen that you wanted some people to join, I was like, yeah, because I'm sure you probably didn't even think that because I'm mostly quiet, but I like to show people that I can have a conversation about anything and stuff like that. So yeah, I appreciate it.
yeah, for sure. Even when you were, you worked with me, like you were laid back, quiet, and
Mhm.
chill. Like I never heard you get loud, but I always heard stories of, man, you should have seen how Trey handled this passenger earlier. I said, oh man, I said, man, that boy don't say nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, and it's allow me to get out my normal comfort zone and be able to speak and get better at speaking as well. Because when I was younger, I wanted to be a sports commentator and stuff like that. But as I got older, I like being able to commentate on anything, not just one topic and stuff like that. So
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've grown into this whole wanting to speak, and growing up, I didn't like public speaking. I didn't like talking in
mhm,
front of people. I didn't want to stand up in front of the class, but I've learned that a lot of people, I mean, this is how the world works now. Like you have to put yourself out there. You have to talk. It don't even matter what you talk about. I
exactly.
watch podcasts. I I try to look up stuff just to kind of get an idea of what people are doing. And some of the stuff that they do is stupid. Like pure retarded. Like
Mhm,
I don't, they're just on a mic yelling profanities at each other. They're like in front of each other and they're not even doing that. They're not even having a conversation. It's like people
hmm,
and they're like girlfriends or their spouses or whatever, and they're just like cussing each other out for no reason. Like, but I guess people like that. I don't know, but I'm not, that's not what I'm here for. I'm legit
exactly.
trying to, understand everybody else and what's going on. And I have a lot of good subjects that honestly, I have a couple of select people in mind for some of them because those conversations might get crazy. I'm kind of wanting them to get crazy, but
Yeah.
I like it's almost nerve wracking to think like who are we gonna offend and what's gonna be said? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm not here. Disclaimer: if you go look at the show notes, like in the on the Facebook post and in the YouTube, it says it in there, warning, like if you're easily offended or you do not like profanity, do not watch this show because anything and everything can happen. And I'm like I said, I'm not filtering it. The only
Mhm,
things the only things I'm taking out of this show are extra commentary that aren't actually part of the show.
mhm.
And that's all I'm really taking out. Other than that, I'm adding a beginning and an ending, and we're going for it. We're gonna throw it out there. Like,
You got a whole nother YouTube channel for this, or you
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
have a playlist?
Well,
Okay.
so this podcast actually has just a YouTube channel that I will have, and it has the commercial for it on there. It's just a background with me talking. Um, but the other one I have actually has a YouTube and Spotify. You can actually get it on. You can get on either platform, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to keep it fairly simple. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, but Trey, again, it was great talking with you. I'll get with you and we'll discuss future shows. But for everybody, thank you guys for watching. Comment, share, discuss. tell me I'm wrong, tell Trey he's
Mhm,
wrong,
mhm.
tell us we're right. Let's do it the right way, and let's keep moving. And just remember, everything you say out of your mouth, everything you think, your thoughts are debatable. Appreciate you guys watching. Trey, I'll get with you.
All right, I appreciate it, Paul. You have a
We'll
good one.
see you.